Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. In the near future, humanity had achieved what many once thought impossible. Through the advancement of genetic engineering, humans had reached the pinnacle of evolution. Diseases that plagued earlier generations had been eradicated, aging had been reversed, and intellect had been enhanced beyond comprehension. Humanity stood on the edge of an entirely new era, one filled with optimism and opportunity. But with these remarkable advancements came new dangers. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood at the window of her research facility, overlooking the bustling metropolis of New Horizon. The city, built on one of humanity's newly colonized planets, was a marvel in itself. Towering skyscrapers reached toward the sky, their sleek designs reflecting the progress of a species that had finally begun to conquer the stars. Everything seemed perfect, but Carter knew better. Behind her, the soft hum of machines filled the lab. Holographic displays floated in the air, projecting data on the latest genetic advancements. Her team of scientists worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of human evolution. But as Carter gazed at the city below, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. She had received troubling reports from the Intergalactic Council, a coalition of alien species that had long dominated the galaxy. They had noticed humanity's rapid rise, and they were afraid. Evelyn, a voice interrupted her thoughts. General Marcus Steele, the head of Earth's Space Defense Forces, entered the lab with his usual air of authority. His presence was commanding, a testament to the military precision that had helped him survive countless battles. "We need to talk." Carter turned to face him, her expression serious. "Is it the Alliance?" Steele nodded grimly. "They've been mobilizing. It's not official yet, but our intelligence suggests they're planning a coordinated strike. They see us as a threat." Carter let out a slow breath. "We knew this was coming. They've been watching us for years, waiting for an excuse." "They won't wait any longer," Steele said. "They're afraid we'll surpass them, and they're not wrong. Our advancements have put us on equal footing, if not ahead of some of their oldest civilizations. And now they're going to try and stop us before we can fully emerge." Carter finished his thought. "But they're underestimating us." Steele's eyes narrowed. "We need to be ready, Evelyn. The attack could come at any moment." For a long moment, they stood in silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. The stakes had never been higher. Humanity's future hung in the balance, and they couldn't afford to fail. "We need to alert the Council," Carter said finally. "They may not believe us, but we have to try." Steele shook his head. "The Council's divided. Some of the more peaceful species might listen, but the warlike ones are itching for a fight. They won't back down." "Then we'll have to prepare for the worst," Carter said, determination settling into her voice. "We've come too far to be stopped now." The first wave of the alien attack came faster than anyone had expected. Ships from the Intergalactic Alliance appeared on the outskirts of the solar system, their sleek forms cutting through the void like predators stalking their prey. They struck at Earth's outer colonies first, targeting defense outposts and research facilities. Their goal was clear: cripple humanity's ability to defend itself before launching a full-scale invasion. But humanity was not unprepared. In the heart of the New Horizon space colony, General Steele rallied his forces. The Space Marines, armed with the latest in human-engineered weapons and technology, stood ready. Alongside them were the genetically enhanced soldiers, the result of years of experimentation and refinement. These superhumans, stronger, faster, and smarter than their predecessors, were humanity's greatest hope in the coming war. Lieutenant Noah Zhang, one of the most decorated of these enhanced soldiers, led his team to the front lines. His enhanced senses allowed him to anticipate the movements of the enemy before they even happened, and his reflexes were faster than any human before him. "They're coming in hard," Zhang said through his comms as he studied the approaching fleet. "But we've got this." His team moved with precision, their minds linked through a neural network that allowed them to share information instantaneously. This was one of the latest advancements, the ability to connect thoughts and strategies in real time, turning individual soldiers into a unified force. The first wave of alien ships fired, beams of energy lancing through the blackness of space. But Zhang and his team were ready. They launched their counterattack, utilizing advanced targeting systems and precision strikes. The alien ships, though formidable, found themselves outmatched by the sheer ingenuity and coordination of the human forces. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter watched the battle unfold on a massive holographic display in the command center. Steele stood beside her, his arms crossed, his face grim. "They're testing us," Carter muttered. "This isn't the full force of the Alliance." Steele nodded. "They're trying to see how we'll respond. But they'll regret underestimating us." As the battle raged on, humanity's forces began to turn the tide. The alien ships, though technologically advanced, couldn't match the level of coordination and strategic adaptability that the human forces displayed. The neural network, which allowed soldiers to act as one, proved to be an overwhelming advantage. Lieutenant Zhang's team broke through the enemy lines, targeting the command ship of the alien fleet. With precision strikes, they disabled the ship's shields and launched a boarding party. The ensuing battle inside the alien ship was brutal, but Zhang and his team's enhanced abilities gave them the upper hand. Within minutes, they had taken control of the ship and captured its alien commander. The first wave of the attack had been repelled, but it was only the beginning. As the dust settled, humanity knew that they had only won a small victory. The real challenge lay ahead. The Intergalactic Alliance, humiliated by their initial defeat, would regroup and come back stronger. They wouldn't stop until humanity was either crushed or brought to heel. In a private meeting with the human leadership, Dr. Carter laid out her plan. It was bold, risky, and had never been attempted on such a large scale before. But it was the only way they could hope to survive the onslaught that was coming. "We need to activate the global neural network," Carter said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "It's the only way we can stay one step ahead of the Alliance." The global neural network, a system that allowed every human to share thoughts, strategies, and ideas in real time, had been in development for years. It had been tested on small scales, with limited groups, but activating it on a global scale was uncharted territory. "If we do this, there's no going back," General Steele warned. "We'll be linking the minds of billions of people." Carter met his gaze, unwavering. "It's a risk we have to take. The Alliance will come at us with everything they have. This is our best chance to outmaneuver them." After a tense silence, Steele nodded. "Do it." The activation of the global neural network was a monumental event. Across the planet and in space, every human mind became linked, connected in a way that had never been possible before. Strategies, ideas, and innovations flowed freely between individuals, creating a hive mind of sorts. The collective intelligence of humanity became its greatest weapon. When the second wave of the alien attack came, humanity was ready. The alien fleet, now larger and more formidable than before, descended upon Earth's colonies. But this time, the human response was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Every soldier, every scientist, every civilian played a part in the defense. Their minds were united, their actions coordinated with perfect precision. Dr. Carter worked tirelessly from the command center, overseeing the operation. The neural network allowed her to communicate with everyone simultaneously, directing efforts, adjusting strategies, and adapting to the ever-changing battlefield. Lieutenant Zhang once again led the charge. His enhanced abilities, combined with the power of the neural network, made him a force to be reckoned with. He anticipated the enemy's moves before they made them, coordinating his team with flawless efficiency. The space battle above New Horizon was intense, but humanity's forces, guided by the collective intelligence of billions, outmaneuvered the alien fleet at every turn. Strategic strikes disabled key enemy ships, while ground forces repelled invasion attempts on the colonies. For the first time, the Intergalactic Alliance realized they were facing an opponent unlike any other. Humanity's ability to think, adapt, and innovate at such a rapid pace made them a formidable force in the galaxy. With the second wave of the attack repelled, the Alliance was forced to reconsider its approach. The human victory was undeniable, but so was the growing tension between the two forces. The war could not go on indefinitely. Both sides would suffer catastrophic losses if it did. Realizing this, Dr. Carter and General Steele proposed a bold new plan. Diplomacy.it was a risky move. The Alliance was still far more advanced in terms of technology, and some of its more warlike members were unlikely to accept anything less than total submission. But Carter believed that humanity had earned the right to be treated as equals. The negotiations were tense. Carter represented humanity at the diplomatic table, with General Steele at her side. Across from them sat the alien leaders, a mix of species that ranged from the coldly logical to the fiercely aggressive. Your advancements are dangerous, one of the alien leaders, a reptilian being known as Chiron, hissed. You've upset the balance of power in the galaxy. We don't seek to dominate, Carter replied calmly. Our evolution is a natural part of our species' growth. We've learned to harness our potential, but we have no desire for war. We wish to coexist, to collaborate. The negotiations stretched on for hours, with both sides presenting their arguments. Some of the alien leaders were swayed by Carter's words, recognizing that humanity's advancements could benefit the entire galaxy. Others remained skeptical, unwilling to trust a species that had risen so quickly. In the end, it was humanity's display of unity and intelligence that tipped the scales. The alien leaders saw that humanity, far from being a threat, had the potential to become a valuable ally in the galaxy. Their ability to adapt, innovate, and defend themselves against overwhelming odds had earned them the respect of even the most powerful species in the Alliance. In the aftermath of the negotiations, humanity was formally accepted into the Intergalactic Council. It was a historic moment, one that marked the beginning of a new era in the galaxy. Humanity had proven that it was not only capable of surviving in the vastness of space but also of thriving alongside the most advanced civilizations in existence. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood on the observation deck of the New Horizon colony, watching as alien and human ships moved through the star-filled sky in peaceful coexistence. General Steele joined her, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. We did it, he said simply. Carter nodded. We did. But this is only the beginning. Steele glanced at her. What do you mean? Carter smiled. We've shown the galaxy what we're capable of. But our evolution doesn't stop here. There's so much more to learn, so much more to achieve. We've only just scratched the surface of what we're capable of. Steele chuckled. I suppose you're right. But for now, I think we've earned a little peace. Carter nodded again, her gaze returning to the stars. Peace, for now. But she knew that the future held endless possibilities. Humanity's journey was far from over, and with the collective intelligence of an entire species behind them, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The galaxy had better be ready. The weeks that followed humanity's acceptance into the Intergalactic Council were marked by a cautious but optimistic collaboration. Diplomats from Earth traveled to distant star systems to establish new alliances, while alien envoys visited human colonies to learn more about this remarkable species that had risen so quickly. The tension that had defined humanity's relationship with the galaxy was slowly being replaced with mutual curiosity and respect. Dr. Evelyn Carter found herself busier than ever. As one of the leading figures behind humanity's evolutionary advancements, she was invited to speak at conferences, council meetings, and scientific symposiums across the galaxy. It was exhausting, but exhilarating. Everywhere she went, she was met with a mix of admiration and wariness. The other species recognized the potential humanity possessed, but there was still a lingering unease about how far these new abilities could take them. General Marcus Steele, now promoted to lead Earth's defense forces on a galactic scale, maintained a more pragmatic view. While the diplomatic overtures were promising, he remained vigilant. Humanity had survived the initial storm, but the galaxy was full of uncertainties. He couldn't afford to relax entirely, not when so much was still unknown about their new allies and, more importantly, their enemies. One evening, after a long day of meetings with alien delegates, Carter and Steele found themselves in a quiet corner of New Horizons' central observation deck. The stars outside shimmered like jewels in the blackness of space, and the sprawling city below was alive with activity. Though they had come a long way, both of them knew there was still much work to be done. Carter sipped from a glass of water, her mind turning over the complexities of their new role in the galaxy. "We're standing at a crossroads, Marcus. The choices we make now will determine whether we truly integrate with the Council or if we become outsiders again." Steele leaned against the railing, his eyes scanning the starry expanse. "You're not wrong. But we can't afford to lose sight of what got us here. Our strength, our ability to adapt, that's what earned us their respect. We'll need to keep those sharp." Carter nodded. "Still, it's strange. After everything we've accomplished, I can't help but feel that we're on the edge of something even greater, or maybe more dangerous." Steele turned to her, raising an eyebrow. "Dangerous how?" "There's an undercurrent," Carter said quietly. "Some of the more warlike factions within the Council. They haven't fully accepted us. They see our advancements as a threat, just like before. But now they're watching us even more closely, waiting for the moment we make a mistake." Steele frowned. "You think they'll move against us again?" Carter hesitated, then shook her head. "Not openly. Not now, anyway. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were attempts to undermine us in more subtle ways: espionage, sabotage, influencing the smaller, less stable members of the Council." Steele's expression darkened. "Then we'll need to be even more careful. I'll make sure our intelligence is on high alert. We can't afford to be caught off guard." Carter smiled, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "I knew I could count on you." As the conversation trailed off, both of them stared out into the void, each lost in their thoughts. The galaxy was vast, and though they had secured their place in it, they both understood that the real challenge was just beginning. Survival had been the first step. Thriving in a galaxy full of ancient, powerful civilizations would be an entirely different matter. In the months that followed, humanity's role in the galaxy expanded rapidly. The first joint human-alien research station was established on the moon of an uninhabited planet, chosen for its neutral ground. Scientists from both Earth and various alien species worked together, sharing knowledge and resources in a way that had never been done before. It was an unprecedented era of cooperation, and yet, beneath the surface, the cracks began to show. Dr. Carter found herself at the center of these efforts, leading a team of researchers in developing new technologies that could benefit all species. One of their most promising projects was the quantum resonance engine, a revolutionary piece of technology that could theoretically allow for instantaneous travel across vast distances, something that even the most advanced alien species had never fully achieved. But the project attracted attention, not all of it welcome. Several alien factions, still uneasy about humanity's rapid rise, began to express concerns about the engine's potential military applications. What would happen, they asked, if humanity decided to use the technology to assert dominance over the galaxy? Carter, ever the diplomat, worked tirelessly to reassure them. This technology isn't about conquest, she explained at yet another council meeting. It's about connectivity. It could revolutionize trade, communication, and exploration. We want to share this with the galaxy, not use it to control it. Some were convinced. Others were not. It was during this period of heightened tension that the first sign of sabotage appeared. One of the research facilities working on the quantum resonance engine suffered a catastrophic failure, resulting in an explosion that killed several scientists and set the project back months. The initial investigation pointed to a technical malfunction, but Carter and Steele both suspected foul play. This wasn't an accident, Steele said as they reviewed the data in the aftermath of the explosion. Someone wanted to cripple the project. Carter's face was pale, her eyes hollow from exhaustion. But why? We've been nothing but transparent about our intentions. Steele's jaw tightened. Not everyone believes that, Evelyn. Some factions still see us as a threat, no matter what we say. And now they're making their move. Determined not to let fear dictate their actions, Carter and her team pressed on with the project, doubling their efforts to ensure that security was airtight. Steele deployed additional forces to protect the research facilities, and counterintelligence teams worked around the clock to root out any possible saboteurs. The tension was palpable, and the stakes were higher than ever, but humanity's resolve remained unshaken. The turning point came when Lieutenant Noah Zhang, now one of Earth's most decorated soldiers, uncovered critical information during a covert mission on a distant planet. The mission, initially intended to gather intelligence on the political climate within the Council, led Zhang and his team to a shocking discovery: a secret alliance between several warlike factions of the Council, all of whom were plotting to destabilize humanity's position by any means necessary. They're planning another attack, Zhang reported to General Steele via encrypted transmission. They're recruiting mercenaries and rogue elements from the fringes of the galaxy. This isn't going to be an official strike, they're using deniable assets to make it look like a third-party operation. Steele's face hardened as he listened to the report. Do they have a timeline? Not yet. But it's coming. They're trying to weaken us from within first: sabotage, misinformation, anything they can do to undermine our credibility. We'll be ready, Steele said, his voice filled with grim determination. Keep digging, Lieutenant. We need everything we can get. With Zhang's intel, the threat became clear. Humanity wasn't just facing overt military action, but a shadow war, one fought in the dark corners of the galaxy where alliances shifted like the wind. But if there was one thing humanity had proven, it was their ability to adapt. Dr. Carter, undeterred by the setbacks, pushed forward with the quantum resonance engine, now more determined than ever to see it completed. She knew that this technology, if successful, could be the key to not just securing humanity's place in the galaxy, but also forging stronger ties with their allies. It represented the future, a future where humanity could truly stand as equals with the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. As the final stages of the quantum resonance engine neared completion, the galaxy held its breath. Would humanity succeed in creating a new era of connectivity, or would their efforts be sabotaged by those who feared their potential? The tension reached its peak on the day of the engine's inaugural test. Representatives from across the galaxy had gathered at the research station to witness history in the making. Dr. Carter stood before the assembled crowd, her heart pounding in her chest. She had spent years working toward this moment, and now it was finally here. Today, we take a step into the future, she said, her voice clear and steady. A future where distance is no longer a barrier, where cooperation and unity are our guiding principles. This engine represents what we, as a species, can achieve when we work together. Not just humanity, but all of us. The countdown began, and the tension in the room was palpable. Every eye was fixed on the massive machine at the center of the room, its core pulsing with energy. As the final seconds ticked away, Carter held her breath. When the engine activated, the room was bathed in a brilliant light. For a moment, it seemed as if the fabric of reality itself was bending, stretching, and then, nothing. The light faded, and the room was silent. Then the cheers erupted. The test had been a success. The quantum resonance engine had worked. Carter let out a shaky breath, a smile breaking across her face. They had done it. Against all odds, they had done it. As the celebrations began, Carter and Steele exchanged a look. They both knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and their journey was far from over. But for the first time, they felt truly ready for whatever lay ahead. Humanity had evolved. And now, the galaxy belonged to them as much as it did to anyone else.